Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on Entrepreneurs at Any Age. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. You know, real-life examples show us that people of all backgrounds and ages are becoming successful entrepreneurs. We've seen teens launching businesses on TikTok to adults getting started at a time when others are retiring. No matter when you start, it's challenging, but many say the rewards are worth the risk. Robert Donpu Cummins was a successful music executive when he started his first side business. It took off from there, first as a franchisee, then as a franchisor of his own brands like Brooklyn Chop House and Brooklyn Dumpling Shop. Still a fixture on the hip-hop music scene, he believes hip-hop's examples of ownership and innovation are inspiring many new entrepreneurs. Cummins says having a strong work ethic and mindset are essential.
It's in me, right? I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to build brands. I want to create jobs and opportunities for people.
Junior Zayas was 19 when he started as a server working for Robert Donpu Cummins. He mentored and inspired the teen who rose through the ranks to become assistant general manager of Brooklyn Chop House in Times Square. He says he has a front row seat watching Donpu's business empire expand.
Papa John's, one IHOP, turning into 3 IHOPs, one Brooklyn Dumpling Shops, and Brooklyn Chop House having 2 locations and taking it international. It's beyond inspiring, and it's beyond learning.
The rate of entrepreneurship in the United States continues to grow across age groups, according to business journals. But those with more life experience tend to have higher success rates. Case in point, the late Colonel Sanders. He started the famous chicken chain in his early 60s. Maha Abu Elaine was a top executive at Google, then left to start her own company. She put the lessons she learned into a book entitled 7 Rules of Self-Reliance.
I think the first thing is self-awareness. What skills do they have? What skills are they missing? And where can they get that talent to help them build their business? One of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is they think they should do everything alone.
Despite the fast growth of women entrepreneurs, there's still room for improvement, says JRCC consultant Jessica Rivera, who coaches C-suite executives and entrepreneurs.
Women are the largest growing demographic in this country as entrepreneurs, and Latinas specifically, growing at 6 times the rate of the US. I think the biggest thing I see is them underestimating themselves.
Let's find out more from our panel.
Joining us is Junior Zayas. He's the Assistant General Manager of Brooklyn Chop House in Times Square. Junior, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you. Also with us is Jessica Rivera. She is the CEO of JRCC Coaching and Consulting, and she works with a lot of business people, both in the corporate world and also for entrepreneurs. Jessica, thanks for being with us.
Excited to be here.
We appreciate it. Also with us is Maha Abu Elaine. She was in the corporate world, and she is basically the go-to person for a lot of top business people. We're going to find out all about her story as well. Maha, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Also joining us is Robert Donpu Cummins. Everybody in the hip hop world knows him because you see him in pictures at all of these events with all of the top hip hop stars, but he is a former music industry executive. He's the owner of many businesses. I want to find out how he runs all of them all at the same time. And also, as many of you know, the owner of the Brooklyn Chop House in Times Square. Donpu, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Maha, give us a sense of your experience and what you see happening, because to me, and from what I'm seeing in the media and what we're hearing from people in our spheres and circles, a lot more people want to get into this whole entrepreneur business style.
I mean, I think you look at the market, everything's going direct to consumer. So a lot of people realize that their lives are not just linear, where they work in one career or one company and stay there for their whole lives. They want to do other things that fill their cup. Entrepreneurship allows them to do that. If you have an idea and a phone or access to the internet, you can sell your product and get customers starting today. And I feel like for entrepreneurs, that's a great way. The low market barrier to get into the market to entry is simple and easy. And that's why you see more companies are registered and more entrepreneurs coming into the market today than ever before.
Jessica Rivera, you deal with a lot of executives at all levels, but a lot of them at the top too. What about the entrepreneurs and women? Is this a time, Maha says there's never been opportunities like this before for anybody to get involved. Is that helping women in the whole corporate hierarchy and as entrepreneurs?
Yes, 100%. I think the dynamic is changing, right? That old patriarchal mindset we've learned that it does not work. And women specifically are really stepping into their power, creating books, really figuring out, how do I lead with impact and not in this old patriarchal way that really didn't feel good, but we still felt like we had to mimic that style in order to grow in our career. And we see, especially, I know it's Hispanic Heritage Month, but Latinas specifically are the largest growing demographic.
Don Pooh, tell us a little bit about your journey, because you're known, you were one of the top music executives, at a very thriving time in the music industry. What made you decide, hey, I want to be my own boss?
So it's just diversifying my portfolio. I had some success earlier on in the management business with a few big hip hop artists. I worked with the Notorious B.I.G., Foxy Brown early on in my career. And then I went on to become an executive in the music business. And then I decided to diversify into hospitality, specifically in the franchise space, because the franchise space was a safer space. So I took on Papa John's Pizza. Then I took on an IHOP development deal in Brooklyn, where today I have 3 IHOPs in Brooklyn across different parts of Brooklyn. Then I took that knowledge and that experience and that success that we had from opening the franchises, and I developed my own brand called Brooklyn Chop House, which the first one is in FIDI, which stands for Financial District in New York City, 150 Nassau Street, in 2018. And then we went on to open one in Times Square, which is, one of the largest restaurants or Black-owned restaurants in the city, and 47th Street in Times Square.
And also one of the reasons we decided to do the show is because during the summer you do a mentorship program for teens. Why is that important for you to really reach out to the next generation?
Oh, it's very important to me because the opportunities and the education and what I've been able to learn on my own through my own, investing in different businesses, it was hard. It was challenging. There were some pitfalls. It wasn't always success. There was a few failures along the way. So I wanted to give the youth and specifically high school students an opportunity to learn to speak. This program that I developed, this entrepreneurship program in the city of Newark, gears towards entrepreneurship in the culinary space specifically. And we wanted to, show kids that, it's possible, see the images of people that have been successful, other entrepreneurs are bringing to the program, and we teach them from forming a business to starting a business to picking locations to everything that they need to do to be successful.
You also take on employees and mentor them. Junior, just tell us, how old were you when, you were in your late teens, you told me, when you first connected with Don Pooh. Tell us what was going on in your life then.
That is correct. So I was about 19, 20 when I first started in the IHOP industry. I started out as a server, coming off the streets of Jamaica, Queens, where, everything there is really, sometimes can be negative, but finding myself in the IHOP as a server, going through the journey as passion and transitioning from server to management, to eventually, by the grace of God, becoming a general manager and growing into holding a location for Mr. Cummins at the Flatbush and Church location for about 8 years. It's been a beautiful journey. It's been a beautiful process, and we're continuing to climb, going from the quick service restaurant into the fine dining now. It's been beautiful.
Stay with us. We're back after this.
Maha, you were working for what's considered one of the best companies to work for in the world by a lot of the surveys, Google, and then you decide to go out on your own. What was that journey all about?
I mean, obviously, Google's is always voted best company to work for in the world, a tech company, really an innovator in every aspect. But I really wanted to control what I worked on every day. And being an entrepreneur gave me the opportunity to pick the projects where I felt I could, bring the most value, pick the projects where I feel like I had unique experience to bring to the table. And I think for anyone who's in corporate, a leader in transition from corporate to entrepreneurship, it's hard. It's not easy. You have to rely on yourself to make all the decisions, to bring in the revenue, to manage people, teams, build a culture, but it's also very rewarding. And I feel like anyone who wants to take that step into being an entrepreneur, they really just need to have the skills and tools to rely on themselves, to build the right relationships, control what they do every day, and they can actually become the entrepreneur they always wanted to work for.
Jessica, for women in particular, we're used to doing a lot of multitasking and doing a lot of different things and organizing a lot of things. But from your work, what skills or what traits do women bring innately to the entrepreneurship and to becoming successful CEOs too, if that's their choice?
Yeah, you bring up a great point about us being reliable. I think many men say that they love having women on their team because we love to do it all, right? We love to serve. The problem is that I think what's good about us is also what's bad about us. And so we cannot do it all on our own when we are entrepreneurs. And the other problem is we have an employee mindset sometimes where we're used to people telling us what to do. And now you have to solely rely on yourself. What are you doing every day? How are you setting up your day? What projects are you focused on? And you're not allowing all of the noise to step in, which can be very, very challenging when you are not used to setting your own rules. Now, myself, I was 2 decades in the corporate world. Luckily, I was in sales and remote environment. So that part wasn't as challenging, but I think when you dig deeper, is the belief that you have in yourself that can really be challenging. It's the belief that you could do it without having this corporate giant or having somebody to tell you what to do that can be the most challenging.
Don Poole, what about that? Because did you have moments where you were like going, oh my God, all these people are depending on me, and if I make this decision, it could impact their lives in a lot of ways?
Absolutely. You wear a lot of hats as an entrepreneur, especially coming into a new industry, a new business, and getting used to having that responsibility. Right, you're responsible for all of these people, especially when you build a restaurant. I started out when we started out the IHOP, we had about, I don't know, 60 to 70 people that were working for us. So that pressure to be successful, to make sure that everything is right and everything is perfect is definitely a lot of pressure.
Junior, in terms of how you see yourself or how you saw yourself when you were like 19 and you first started working for Don Pooh, and then compared to where you're at now as the assistant general manager of this thriving, incredible business and restaurant, did you have to go through different ways of looking at yourself in order to rise up the ranks like that?
You have to look at yourself in various different ways. Like you said, the transition is a very hard transition, especially when you're going from a server to management. There is a lot of things that you have to look into, as far as looking at things in different perception, being mindful of operations, dealing with people, because you're on a different level of inspiration. You have to be a leader. You have to be the reason why people actually come to work, as far as good management. A lot of businesses fail because of bad management.
Jessica, let me start with you. For people thinking of becoming entrepreneurs, what do you think they need to have in place, either mindset-wise, financially, strategy-wise, in order to even get started?
Yeah, I would say definitely figure out what your proof of concept is, right? So I start a side hustle, figure out if it's something you actually love and want to do. Because sometimes the idea is great in concept, but not in reality. So I would say if you have the opportunity, definitely start a side hustle. But if we really want to get deep, I would say think about your mindset, because entrepreneurship will challenge everything you think about yourself, and it will force you to look at yourself in ways that maybe you didn't think about before, because you will have to rely on yourself and really think outside the box. And then additionally, I say ask for help. We do not have to do it on our own. There are so many free resources out there, paid resources, your social equity. I think all of those things in combination will really help you on your path to entrepreneurship.
Maha, what did you have to put in place in order to go from being this executive at Google to starting your own businesses?
I mean, I feel like relationships, I know I talked a lot about that just a minute ago, but I feel like having the right relationships is key in order for you to make that transition, but also having a lot of self-awareness of what you're good at and what you're not good at. Like, what are the things that you need to get help with? Well, who are the skills of the talents of the team members you need to hire? And, I did learn a hard lesson at Google where I hired somebody too quickly, didn't really know what the job or the role was about, and I ended up having the wrong person in the role. So I feel like understanding who to bring in for team members, when to bring them in, you need to have that self-awareness. I'm not good at HR. I'm not good at legal. I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at lead gen. I'm not good at sales. Or what are the things you are good at? And then try to find the team members to complement you in there.
Donpu, what about that for you? Like when that first seed, comes into your mind of like, okay, I think I could be doing more. I could be making more, having more freedom, living more, doing more. What's that process?
For me, it was basically doing the research, right? When I decided to go into franchising, I didn't really just take it from the franchisor's point of view. Oh, this is great. You're going to do great. I went and met all of the franchisees in the brand that were doing, some that were doing well, some that were doing not so well. And I got all of the education and all of the knowledge that they have from running that brand for years, and all of the things that they were able to teach me and point me towards. So I actually spoke to the people that were actually doing it, right? And I went in and actually shadowed them. I did the research and I said, you know what, this may work for me.
Junior, for your rise, from server and from mentee and of Donpu's, what have you learned from him? And are you looking to your own business someday?
Absolutely. So I've learned a lot from Mr. Poole over the years, watching him expand tremendously. I definitely inspired to be an entrepreneur myself. I definitely inspired to be a restaurateur. I'm currently still doing the groundwork of learning the restaurant business, in and outs, networking, financings, researching grants, several business plans, menu developments, for concepts. But it's definitely a lot of groundwork.
Jessica, what about for people in terms of the different culture differences? And I don't mean ethnically, racially, or economically. It's just there's certain different businesses have different corporate cultures. How do you find out if the culture that if the company that you want to work for and eventually become a CEO of your own type of business like that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know what the culture is?
Creating your company culture is key. Everyone here said about team, about people, and basically talking about their social equity, right? So I think creating a team and creating your culture is vital. It's going to be pivotal in your success. So what does that look like? I think being authentic to ourselves and really understanding what kind of culture, how do I want my client to feel? How do I want my team to feel? What's the energy around me? What's, what is it that I want people to feel when they're around me? Because as we know, people want to buy from people they know, like, and trust. Right. And as Donpu was saying, marketing is important, but being authentic, nothing is worse than seeing somebody on social media and then meeting them in real life and they're completely the different person.
Right.
And so it's going to be really hard to sell yourself because eventually that will come to light.
Totally agree with you. Nothing worse than meeting someone after you see them on social media or you see them in, digital media on, however you get that content from them or a podcast. And then obviously when you go to see their brand, it's not aligned, right?
No, exactly.
So being aligned with your brand, a lot of times comes from that personality of the person that owns the brand or that messaging that you're putting out there for your brand. You want that to be consistent. You want that also to be very authentic and just be you. And people will accept it when it's you, especially when you're delivering a good product constantly and consistently. People love that.
People love that. Maha, final word for us.
Reputation. Entrepreneurs should care and live and die and breathe on their reputations. How are they investing it? How are they building it? How are they protecting it? If you're an entrepreneur and you have a good reputation, you'll acquire the talent you want to hire for your company. You'll get the investors to invest in your company. You'll get your customers to stay loyal to you. So investing in your personal brand as an entrepreneur is not about being a social media influencer. It's about having a good reputation and how you show up in the world and being intentional about it.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on Entrepreneurs at Any Age. You can watch it again on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page and the Fox Local app. Remember, use your mind as your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.